Ready?
Ready. 5, 4, 3.
Hello and welcome to LA School of Comedy. I'm your host, Sunda Kronquist. I've had a lot of work done over the last couple of days, but no, my name is Aaron McIntyre. Welcome everybody. Let's have this huge crowd. Everybody. Woo! Yeah, it's going to be a great night. We're really excited. Just wanted to start off telling you all about my day. Got up this morning, got out of bed. You'd think that'd be enough, but no. I took my morning jog to the bathroom, as I usually do, which looks sometimes more like that, that speed walking thing, where you go. That was fun. Went in and I got some apples out. Chopped those up. It was a tough day. It was really, really rough. I chopped the apples up and then I got out the peanut butter, because you gotta have apples and peanut butter. Got out the peanut butter and started stirring it, and it's the natural shit, right, with the oil on the top. So it's like cement down at the bottom, and you're stirring up the cement and pulling it up into the oil, and it was a lot of work. About 45 minutes later, I was done with that. So I was pretty pooped. So I took a nap, and then I came here. So anyway, let's get started right off the bat here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring up a guy I met tonight. He's a wonderful guy. He got here, I think, is this your first time? First time up here?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Except for that one time. All right, great. Let's bring him up with a big round of applause. Dale Holness. And here he comes. One more time. Woo!
The funny part, getting on the stage. Hey, I'm Dale Holness. Don't really have much to talk about. I'm not really somebody with material. But I've been coming to LA for a couple of years, ever since COVID. And I like the places that had the Vax cards. Everybody was complaining about them, but that was like the best thing for me, because every place else was closed. I was really glad that there were places open that were taking the Vax cards, but I don't know. I still haven't managed to move here yet, but I've come a long way since then. Had some setbacks. I got shot last December, leaving the Comedy Store. That's ironic, but walked down the hill and somebody was breaking into my car. They got me in the knee.
Whoa!
They got me in the arm.
Whoa!
Wow. I was in the hospital and in the recuperative care, and man, I got to where I gained so much weight, but that was just from drinking. It wasn't, it was my fault. That's what I do when I get depressed. I like drinking. I love drinking when I go to the Comedy Store. I don't like drinking and driving, though. I learned my lesson there. But I don't know. I really like LA, though. I grew up in the middle of nowhere out by Nebraska. And there's nothing to do, there's nowhere to go, there's no one to meet. You already know everybody's names. You wave at everybody when they drive by, or you hear about it 2 weeks later and they pull you over and, why didn't you wave at me that day? I'll be like, well, I was smoking something. But that was my favorite thing when I was in high school. I would drink beer with just about anybody, but I was real picky about who I smoked with. You had to be careful. We used to be like 20, 25 miles from town. All my buddies were farmer kids. We'd drive their dad's pickup 100 miles an hour all the way to town and get a case of beer. And we'd spend all night long driving home, round and around and around and around. We told all our girlfriends we were rabbit hunting. A couple of my buddies, they'd figured this thing out when they were in high school, but they told everybody they were rabbit hunting every Wednesday after community league basketball. So we'd all go to the school out in the middle of the country, wasn't even a town. We'd play basketball in the gym. We'd boogie to town as fast as we could, We'd drive around all night long with shotguns and 22s and shoot at skunks and chase rabbits and stuff like that. But it was a lot of fun. All our girlfriends and their wives, they were just, every Wednesday night, they really thought we were out there seriously hunting rabbits for some reason. It wasn't like we ever shot anything or killed anything, unless we ran over a skunk, but we had so much fun. It was really great growing up out there. But I learned my lesson to stay away from guns. I always drank too much, but I didn't like shooting it up. I liked being there where there wasn't any drugs to do, there wasn't any bad side of the tracks, there weren't any bad people to worry about, It was everybody was pretty friendly. But now I'm here because I want to do something. This is just such a nice, there's so many things to do. You can just ride the bus, and I'm entertained just watching people getting on and off the bus and yelling at each other on the street, honking their horns. That's just makes my day. If I got nothing else to do, I can always, the train's pretty good too. That's my favorite. But I keep getting lost on the train though. I ride and I ride and I ride until they stop the train. They're like, oh, it's late. We're stopping the train. You got to get off. Then I don't know where I'm at. I ended up down, halfway to Long Beach one time. Got off the train, couldn't even find the exit to the train station. Got on the bus, told the bus I just need to go, a couple stops down. By the time I realized it, I was way down there. But I probably kind of passed out there for a minute, though. It wasn't like the driver was taking advantage of me, but when I fell off the seat, I woke up and didn't know where I was at that time either. But my drinking got pretty bad when I was in the nursing home, but now everything is, I got my drinking under control. I'm driving again, doing all of my normal stuff. It was hard driving when I was in a wheelchair. Wheelchairs, when you're in a wheelchair, you can't load the wheelchair up, unload the wheelchair, and do all of that stuff, It just makes it harder and harder. But everything's good now. Still haven't been back to the Comedy Store much since then, but that was like my favorite place to go. I just loved the Comedy Store. I didn't even know that was Pauly Shore's thing, I didn't know that was his mom's place. When he made that son-in-law movie where he was out on the farm, I was really out on the farm. He was my people back then, I couldn't believe. I had such a good time. Just, when I grew up out there, I was like the misfit. I didn't fit in, I was wearing the bib overalls and the bandana, and talking funny, everybody I grew up with. Even the kids in elementary school they just had life all figured out. You talk to them just like they were adults. They could do anything. They could, drive tractors, heavy equipment, trucks, They could read the paper and predict the weather. Because that's what, they grew up there and they knew everything about that place, Their dads and their brothers and their moms all showed them stuff. They had real functional families. They didn't know what dysfunction was. And I ended up out there with my mom, skipping rent further and further and further out of Denver until we were just about in Nebraska, with the alcohol and, oh man, I didn't even know what I was doing when I got out there. Went on a harvest crew after my sophomore year and ended up down in Texas. And by the time I got down to Texas, the crew had already been down there for a couple of weeks, but one of their guys quit, and my mom told me that they needed somebody, so I got myself down to Texas to do this harvest crew. In the middle of the night, go into this trailer with a bunch of bunks in it, little camper or big camper trailer. Got in there and I found a bunk that was empty, and I crashed out. And when I woke up in the morning, everybody was gone. I was surprised I didn't wake up with, there's 8 bunks in that, nobody woke, they didn't wake me up, and I would, usually I'm not that heavy of a sleeper, but after a while, I'd made a bowl of cereal, and helped myself to what was in the fridge, and I was, had some coffee, and I'm just sitting there, 15 years old, wondering what the hell was going to happen next. Then the truck pulls up. I go get in the truck, and the truck driver tells me, well, I guess you're going to be a combine operator. And I looked at him. I was like, well, what's a combine? I didn't know what a tractor was. I didn't know what a combine was. He says, well, when we get out to the field, you'll see it. You'll know. Get out there, and he pulls me up next to one of the combines and tells me to go to climb up. And it didn't even stop. I'm running through the wheat, climbing this ladder, getting up into the combine. Get up in there, and I opened up the door, and that's when I met my boss. Didn't know him, never met him before. He says, oh, this is the steering wheel, and this is the shifter, and this is the clutch, and this goes up, and this goes down, and he, see you later. And he jumps out. And I was just sitting there like, I wasn't even watching where I was going. I was just watching him walk away. I didn't know what to do. It was so crazy. But it was different, it was a lot different than growing up in the city. I grew up in Denver in elementary school, and, I had a paper route, delivered the Denver Post after school, and that was a lot of fun. But we were all, with the paper routes, we were like running the neighborhood all the time. We had $5 bills falling out of our pockets, and we didn't have anything else to do, nothing to spend the money on, just go to 7-Eleven and buy kites and, candy bars and stuff like that. But that was pretty crazy. But we were like biker trash after school. We'd all jump on our paper bikes and cruise over to this garage in an alley where all the newspapers were, and we'd drag our papers in on a bench and pull our rubber bands out of the milk boxes with the padlocks and fold up the papers and roll our bikes in there and load them up. And man, I must have made $15,000 in elementary school just delivering papers. Then my mom spent that and moved us out in the middle of nowhere, and then everybody else, they were raising cattle with their folks, they were taking cattle to town and selling them just to have money to go buy stuff and, go to the stores and stuff like that. But I was waiting for the light to come on. I thought you were enjoying yourself. Okay. Well, that's it. That's for me. I didn't know what else to talk about, so it's easy just to talk about stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Give it up for Dale. Dale. Yes. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Lady and gentlemen. We're going to keep this show rocking and rolling. Going to bring up our next comedian. He's a great guy. I love him already. Alan Weiss, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together for Alan Weiss. Oh, I'm supposed to do that.
Is it 2 minutes?
2 minutes.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Alan Weiss. Thank you. So I just got off of work, so you get a little frizzy when tired, and then you're like in a zombie mode for a while. But anyway, I'm going to do my set because I have a show coming up, so I just want to get this kind of down. So apologize if you already heard it. So I'm awkward. For example, when I go to the gym, there's all these guys who are really big and ripped, and they always want to get bigger. They have muscle dysmorphia. They want to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So to help them out, I stand next to them to make them look bigger, except in the shower. I'm a CPA and a CFA charter member, which means I'm a super nerd. However, I'm the worst nerd ever. I've never read a comic book. I don't program HTML, and I've never been laid. Off. That one. Okay, I've seen Star Wars. All of them. But I've never masturbated to it. But if I was to have fantasy, it'd be to Microsoft Excel. Because I just want to get a girl into my sheets. People always go, "Are you really an accountant? Like, why would I lie about that?" because I'm a tax gigolo. Hey, ladies, who wants their taxes done? Hey, ladies, who wants a big refund? Hey, ladies, who wants to make some dependents? Hey, ladies, where are you going? So I told you I'm awkward, as you can tell, and I went to a therapist, and she told me I'm on spectrum. I was like, how do you know? She's like, oh, it's your shoddy connection. To everybody. Being on the spectrum is the greatest defense to being awkward. For example, I'll see a pretty girl at the beach, and I'll go up to her and go, you look amazing. And then she'll go, thank you so much, you made my day. And then her boyfriend will go, what did you say? And I'm like, well, I'm on spectrum. Shoddy connection. You're breaking up. I hope. No? So my therapist, people went to my therapist. So people go, you don't look autistic. You don't look autistic. And it's a huge issue, big problem when I bite them. Autistic people don't bite. It's just a kink. It's just a kink. I try to figure out the order. So people say you don't look autistic. They say you don't look it. So, well, I know I already did that one. My autism is this is why you practice here, right? So when you're actually doing the show, you're like. So people go like, what is your autism like? What is it like? So I don't pick up signals. So ladies, if you're at a bar and you're staring at me all night wondering why I'm not coming over, just note, I think I won the staring contest. My therapist is like, you need to get out there and be social. So I went to a brunch, and they told me to bring the fluffiest pita bread I could find. So I'm in Whole Foods filling up all the pita. I'm like, oh, this one feels kind of nice. This one feels kind of rough. Oh, yeah, this one feels just right. And I was thinking, if someone sees me, it's going to be a problem. They're going to think I'm a pedophile. So I brought sourdough. My therapist is like, hey, you need a date. So she told me about love. She let me teach you about love. So told me my love language is touch. And the problem is I don't like to be touched. Except for one place. My heart. Okay, 2 places. My mind and my heart. Okay, 3 places. So my therapist is like, you got a date. So I went on a date, but I'm awkward. So I crashed my friend's first date. At the table was my friend, his date, and me. And then he got up and left. So I did what anybody, I just slid right over and I said, hi. I slid right over and said, hi, Lauren. My name is Alan. I'll be taking over Steve while he's on break. It was going great. And we started talking about grandparents. I'm like, oh, my grandfather survived the Holocaust. And she's like, oh, mine did too. And I was like, no way, you're Jewish. She's like, no, he was a camp counselor. He was a Nazi, for those who didn't get it. Not the same thing. It was followed by really, really awkward silence and followed by great sex for her and Steve. I wasn't invited. Apparently we have different definitions of survive. I am awkward, but I finally did get a girl back to my place. We were in the bathroom. It was getting all hot and heavy. She's like, oh, I'm getting wet. I'm like, oh, why don't you come over and do something about it? So she came over and slammed the shower door shut. My therapist is like, you need to pick up a hobby. So I was like, okay. So I picked up cooking, and I was rummaging through my cabinets trying to find all the spices, and I realized all my spices were old. There's no way I'm throwing away $85 worth of spices. No way. So now I use them as deodorant. My friend says, you smell great. I'm like, yeah, it's called Old Spice. I'm not a liar. What we had there? Oh, a little over. So I dumped my therapist for obvious reasons. I'm seeing someone new and getting advice from someone new, and boy, is she difficult. She doesn't like my life decisions, doesn't like the girls I date. I'm like, Mom, stop it. She's like, you need to go do something fun. So she needed to do something, so I joined a gang of accountants. we're the debits, and the other gang's the credits. And we go around and jump people. You go, you've just been reconciled. And then we run. And that's usually where my end is, but I'm a little bit longer than I expected. Okay, well, that's cool. I can go with some other stuff that I've been working on. I've been reading about Myers-Briggs and all that stuff, and people identify as different things like INTJ or EFTJ or whatever. And so I was trying to figure out what I identify, and I realized I identify as a chair because I like it when my girlfriend sits on me. My girlfriend said she identifies as a refrigerator because she likes it when I eat her out. Oh, that's dirty. My coworker says she identifies as a microwave because she frizzes when I presses her buttons. And just, I wrote a bunch of dirty stuff. It was weird. I just kept going dirtier and dirtier and dirtier. It was weird. It's like the reason I don't like to be touched was because my brother growing up would just manhandle me. It got so bad that now I flinch when he grabs my nuts. My mixed nuts. They're salty. Let's see what else we got. Where can we go from here? I'm trying to think of anything new I want to try. Oh, ghosts. I found that there's all these genres of fetishes, but there's no ghost porn fetish. I was wondering what that's like. If someone's watching some ghost porn, is it like they just don't see it? It's like, oh, I missed it again. Is ghost porn really where you have a bunch of conversations on your phone, all with ... It's kind of interesting. Is ghost porn where you're on Twitter and everybody just unmatched you? There's stuff there about ghosts. Ghosts are weird. I think everybody's scared of ghosts, but I wish they were useful and helpful. They should be helpful because they can't really do anything for you. They might as well help you out. Like, hey, woo, your girlfriend's cheating on you. Woo, you left the stove on. What if they're autistic ghosts? Are there any autistic ghosts? It's like, woo, yesterday's date was divisible by 2. I think I'll just stop there. But my name's Alan Weiss. You can find me on Alan W. Weiss at Yahoo, Alan W. Weiss on Instagram. Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Ladies and gentlemen, the comic stylings of Alan Weiss. Thank you, Alan. That was fantastic. All right, we're going to keep this thing going. What do you say? We're going to bring up a woman. Yes, she is our only woman in the room tonight. Once you put your hands together, make it strong for Angela Marr.
All right. Hey, everybody. Hey. Okay, because germs are still amongst us, I like to bring my own protection. Thank you so very much. I can sell it to you for $19.99, a penny of tax, $20, okay? So, I am from the DMV. I hope you're not thinking of that DMV, Department of Motor Vehicle. I mean, have you ever seen anybody at the Department of Motor Vehicle smile? Have you ever seen anybody from the Department of Vehicle show teeth? Okay, so I am from the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. Yes, I greet you in the name of politics, where red and blue are very strong colors. They are another type of gang, I guess you can say. So yeah, but so I've been out here in Los Angeles, and I have to say that the parking situation has been really rough. You know, I mean, I'm back in therapy because of the parking situation. You know, I have gray hair now because of the parking situation. I got my first ticket in LA trying to find a parking space. At one point, I had gotten more parking tickets within a 7-month period than I've gotten my entire life back in the East Coast. Yeah. And the other thing about the parking situation is that, you know, when I go on Yelp, people go on Yelp to see, you know, what services are like. You know, how do they rate the service? How you were treated? Did they greet you? Did they smile at you? I go on Yelp to see what do they say about the parking situation. Because I need to know before I decide to become a client or a customer of this particular business or service, okay? So, you know, it's been a crazy summer. Like, the heat has been crazy, right? I mean, it's been really kind of bad. PSA, public service announcement, Black people we can get sunburn as well. So over the summer, I kind of got sunburned, but my first time of getting sunburned was like years ago when I was in the Caribbean. I saw blue water for the first time, and I decided to sit in the water the entire day, not realizing that the sun would kiss me, you know. Someone came over after we left the beach and tapped me on my shoulder, and I was like, ouch! And I was like, oh my God, is it red back there? And I was like, I think I got sunburn. Well, y'all, that was the first time in my life that I realized what it was like to have white privilege without, oh my God, I can't believe my mind just went blank on that joke. Oh, that's bad. Okay. Okay, I can't believe I forgot my punchline. But anyway, so I went to a ladies' store, hair and beauty store, makeup store. And so when I got ready to check out, I happened to be behind a lady that was speaking Spanish, and the sales lady could speak Spanish as well. So they're like going back and forth, and all of a sudden I hear the lady go, "Descuenta, por favor." I was like, I said, I know por favor means please. And I was like, but descuenta? I was like, Google, what does descuenta mean? And Google said discount. I said, oh. And then the sales lady was like, sí. I said, oh, okay. So when it was my turn, I was like, can I have a discount, please? And she was like, huh? I was like, I'm not speaking Greek. Can I have a discount? And she was like, huh? I said, pardon, yo quiero un descuento como la otra mujer enfrente de mí para recibir un descuento por mis cosas. And she was like, oh, you speak Spanish? I said, sí, I do today. So, yeah. My family, I come from a family with a great relationship record. My parents have been married for a long time, for I think over 50 years, I believe. Both of my siblings have been with their spouses for over 15 years, maybe 20 at this point. I don't know. I've been with my therapist for over 3 years. Now, mental health, shout out to mental health. Now, I would never date my therapist because he keeps seeing other people and I don't like to share, okay? But my parents, who are the reason why I'm here today, and I just like to tell them thank you, you know what I mean? So when I went back home to visit my family, my dad loaned me his truck because I didn't have any vehicle to drive, and I didn't have any money to pay to rent a vehicle because LA is so expensive, you know what I mean? So when I went home, my dad was like, yeah, you can drive my truck. And y'all, my dad's truck is a hoopty truck. Now, for those of you who may not know what a hoopty is a raggedy car. okay? Meaning that it's one wheel on the road and one wheel to the graveyard. You know, it's like in between, or the junkyard, I should say. So anyway, my dad let me borrow his truck. And when I drove the truck, you all, I realized that I needed to have my cell phone charged before I got in the truck because there was nothing to charge my phone on. It's that old, okay? Then one night I spent the night and visited my brother and sister-in-law, and I get out the truck and come back getting ready to leave their house to go somewhere else, and the truck wouldn't start. And it was because I left the lights on, because I'm used to being in modern cars where the lights cut off automatically, right? So then we had to call my dad up to find out, like, how do we how do we turn on the truck or whatever? And he's like, oh, you have to look under the steering wheel, and then you got to rub your key together, and then you got to pull it and hook it. And I'm like, what? So yeah, it's crazy, y'all. But the crazy thing is that one night I was driving back home to their house, and the turning signals didn't come back on. I was like, Dad, your turning signals don't come on. And he was like, well, have you ever thought about using your hand? I was like, using my hand? Who's gonna see my hand at nighttime? I was like, the last time I checked, you're black and I'm black. Who's gonna see my hand? So then I said, well, yeah, Dad, it doesn't turn on. So he was like, well, sorry. But anyway, I forgot that punchline too. I can't believe it. But my mom, she's quite interesting. I was talking to my mom the other day, and so she was telling me about, we were talking, and so she was like, hey, have you been able to find a job out there in LA yet? And I was like, no, Mom, I haven't. And so then she took a very long pause like this. And then she asked me, do you think it's because of what you're posting on Facebook? I was like, Facebook? What does Facebook have to do with me finding a job? And she was like, yeah, because our friends who are on Facebook with you say that Angela is all over Facebook. I'm like, Mom, I am over 40 years old. Could you see me doing a twerky selfie? Like, Mom, come on now. So anyway, it's really crazy. But when I went back home because one of my cousins got married. And to be honest, you all, I really didn't care too much about the ceremony. I didn't care too much about what the bride was going to be wearing. I didn't care about all the shenanigans. I did care about the reception food and the cake, because I'm a big cake connoisseur. But the other big thing that I really cared about was catching that bouquet. I am still single, okay? So I was really concerned about catching that bouquet because I am getting too old to keep putting down my mommy and my daddy for my emergency contact. Okay, so my name is Angela Warren. Thank you.
Keep it going together for Angela.
Thank you.
Nice work. All right, lady and gentlemen, that concludes our evening, I guess. I did want to say, you reminded me of something when you said about the shout out to the parents, making the shout out to the parents, you know. I was watching the awards shows, the last ones, and the woman came up and said, you know, I want to say that if it weren't for my mom and dad, I wouldn't be up here accepting this award. And I thought, if your mom and dad weren't here, you wouldn't be here at all, right? So that's just very strange. Excuse me. I have to do my Cinda Kroonquist now. If you think you're funny, you probably are. So come on down to the LA School of Comedy and get up here. You're not going to know until you take it from the page to the stage. My name's Aaron McIntyre. This has been Wacky Wednesday, and we've had fun. I hope you have too. And good night, everybody. Now you can go, ah!
I don't like to do
Good job.
Oh, thank you. That's what she's on the
Everyone
show.
did a
For
good
the
job.
DMV. No one ever smiles at the DMV.